Today marked the 24th edition of the Gran Premio Bruno Beghelli, a race which is characterised by 10 finishing circuits of 13 kilometres, each of which contain a climb of 1.5 kilometres and an average gradient of 5%. Perfect conditions for racing again this morning, and we soon had a trio of riders head up the road. However, with 2 laps of the finishing circuit remaining, they'd already been caught and we had a very strong counter move going up the road. Amongst them, Hugo Ule of Stana. We also had George Bennett, the Kiwi here, riding for Team Jumbo-Visma. His teammate Nilson Paules also up there. Ineos had managed to get 2 riders in there too, with Ramiro Sosa and also Gianni Moscon. Affini also up there towards the front, and Trek Segafredo also represented. Behind, though, it was Bahrain Merida, determined to give their leader Sonny Colbrelli a shout of a second victory at the race. He was amongst 3 riders in the race who'd already won it, the others being Luis Leon Sanchez, who took this one back in 2017 with a solo attack, and also last year's winner Bauke Mollema of Trek Segafredo, who won it in the very same fashion. Well, that leading group was down to 4 riders with just 1 lap of this circuit remaining. Their leader tentative one though, 15 seconds over a reduced bunch, which by this point was being led by UAE Team Emirates for Fernando Gaviria, as well as Trek Segafredo for Bauke Mollema. Onto that closing circuit, and Paules, the American, had found himself solo off the front, but it was going to be a tough task for him to keep the bunch at bay, and in fact as they hit the climb he was caught and passed. This is Mosca of Trek Segafredo, joined by George Bennett, who continued to go on the attack, but they were soon joined by the Frenchman Guillaume Martin of Wanty Gobert. And in fact, it was Martin who was by far the strongest on that final climb of the day, out of the saddle almost the entire way up, and he would go over the top with a 5-second advantage over the group behind. In the end, he'd be caught by a very select group of riders. In the blue there, Alejandro Valverde, the Spanish national champion. David Gaudu riding for Groupama FDJ. Bauke Mollema also in there. Jack Haig for Mitchelton Scott. And also a duo of Bahrain Merida riders, Sonny Colbrelli along with teammate Garcia Cortina. And it would be the Spaniard who kept the pace high all the way into the finish. At this point, with 200 metres to go, it was Colbrelli who kicked for the line first. The Spaniard Alejandro Valverde doing his best to get on his wheel. Jack Haig just behind that. But the slight uphill rise to the finish perfectly suited the Italian. As he looked over his shoulder, he was sure that he'd taken his second win in this event. A brilliant ride for Colbrelli, and a brilliant ride too by his team Bahrain Merida. You could see in the background there, Garcia Cortina also celebrating the win. Those are your results. Valverde would have to settle for second place, but he's looking good for Il Lombardia, as too is Jack Haig of Mitchelton Scott in third. Gaudu and Bauke Mollema rounding out the top 5 on the day. Earlier on that same day, we had the 4th edition of the Women's Gran Premio Bruno Beghelli. Amongst the star sprinters there were the Dutch champion in second place at this point, Lorena Wiebes, who's had a fantastic season. Like Colbrelli, she kicked with just over 200 metres to go, but on her wheel, the Italian national champion Marta Bastianelli. Both of them had a whole load of wins already this year. Who would take the next one? Well, in the end, it would be Bastianelli, her 11th victory of 2019 so far, and putting into second place a disappointed Wiebes of the Park Hotel squad. Well, how many more victories has she got in her this year? She's been on fire all the way since the start of the season. Here they are on the podium, Bastianelli celebrating yet another win. Well, thanks very much again for joining us here on GCN Racing. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so by clicking on the button below this video, and also click on the bell notification icon so that you get notified every time we go live with a race. We'll see you soon.